Becky, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Yes, I'm well. It's been a very, very long time. I,
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
well
I've
over 10
moved to a
years.
different city and everything's changed.
Yeah. So what is going on? How's life? How's life in Birmingham? Band stuff, touring. How's it all going?
It's great. So I think when I can't remember what year it was when I last saw you, but I used to play in a lot of different bands, very
Mm,
varying styles. And I was just, if a gig was going, I'd be there, and I'm like, yes, I'm available to
yeah,
play, so therefore I will be playing
yeah,
whatever style it is. I'm up for it. And I guess over time I've been able to be more choosy with the stuff that I do and
Mhm.
more aim for the area of specialism that I feel most confident in, which is doing heavy metal and
Mhm.
and also a little bit of like kind of grunge and punk as well. But
Okay.
so my main bands at the moment, Fury, which they're a Birmingham-based heavy metal band and kind of hard rock. And then I recently joined a Danish heavy metal band called Merciful Fate,
Mhm.
and so they're based in like two of them are in Denmark, one's in Sweden, and one's in Texas. So it's very like long distance, but
Well, all right. So how do you tour with that? You'll just meet up in. I see you just meet up in one location and off you go. Do a couple of days rehearsal and then off you go.
yes, yeah. So I've only done two kind of stints with them so far. I was a dep up until January this year,
Yeah.
and we just met up just before the first show, which was in Dallas in Texas, and did a day of rehearsing. Not very like I was hoping for a full day rehearsal. In fact, I was supposed to have like 3 days of rehearsals, but things went really awry with like passports and stuff.
Right.
And so yeah, I only ended up having like one day. We just did an afternoon, played through the set, and then we're like, yeah, okay, gig tomorrow. Can't wait.
Straight in the
Um,
van.
yeah, straight on stage. So that was great, and I think we may be doing. I think we may be doing a rehearsal before the next show, which is in Chile, and then we do Brazil
Yeah.
after that. So yeah, I think there is going to be a rehearsal this year, which is exciting.
Just two rehearsals a year. I think that's enough for everybody. Uh,
Yeah. Oh god, if only all bands could just rehearse
I know,
like
man.
twice a year.
So I, I've I've seen like tour posters that you keep posting up on socials. Am I right in thinking that Fury, you're the only girl or the only woman?
No, there's two women in Fury now. So
Okay.
when we did the last album, I was an official member, so the bass player, and then we also had a lot of backing vocals added by a lady called Naya, and
Right.
but she did backing vocals on like 9 out of the 10 tracks. So then when we started touring it, we were like, wow, we're really missing those extra backing
Mm.
vocals. So she became then a kind of permanent member of the band since that album, and then so now we've kind of it makes more sense for it to be a co-lead vocal situation. So
Right.
it's a lot of fun to now have like two voices to play with. So there's a male and a male and female vocal
Okay.
to do different parts, complement each other, and switch who's doing backing and who's doing lead. So that's more like the future of the band, because of course like the songs are written for a particular key, a particular way of singing it. So some of them she can take the lead on,
Yeah.
but it's going to be more for like future songs that we integrate more like female lead vocals.
Okay. And Merciful Fate.
I'm the only woman in Merciful Fate. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because we watched. Have you seen Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash movie?
Oh yeah. Oh, I
I
haven't seen
watched
that in
it.
ages,
I
but I
watched
love
what
that film.
we watched it. I know, was it last night or the night before? I just forgot what a fucking great movie it is. But there's a scene.
Yeah.
I think it was like the second or third tour, and they're just touring around the states. I think it was when they started doing the prison scene, the prison circuit,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes up and he proposes to June again for like the fifth time. He wakes her up at 2 in the morning, and she says like, pick your fucking moments. I'm in the middle of a fucking tour bus. It's 2 a.m. with five stinking blokes. And now you're picking the chance to ask me to marry you. And I thought, what? That moment. And I thought, because I had this chat on our head. I was like, I wonder if Becky feels the same, sitting in a tour bus with five stinking blokes being the only woman.
I don't know. Like,
Or do you never think about it?
it doesn't. It, of course, it doesn't feel like the most romantic situation.
Yeah.
But I don't have a romantic interest on those tours anyway, so
Oh,
it doesn't
it was just
really
more
cross my mind.
just being on a tour bus or in a tour van or something like this with 4 or 5 other guys.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like I don't know. Like the Merciful Fate guys are very. They've been doing it for a long time. Like since the 80s. So I think
Shit. Okay.
all of their like I don't know. I feel like they look after themselves a lot better now
Okay. All right.
than they probably would have back in the day. Like, I'm pretty sure they do wash. I didn't really notice anyone stinking. Everyone knows the etiquette of the tour bus and how to not piss other people off and, not get on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and also there's a lot more, I guess, luxury in some ways of touring with that level of band. We also get like hotel rooms in our own space, and that's quite nice. Whereas with Fury, we're just kind of bundled in the back of the van, or we're sharing an Airbnb, or there's like 3 people to a room and sleeping on the floor or whatever. Like, so that makes it a lot harder with that kind of level.
Okay. Are you still doing the Hands Off Gretel gig?
So I'm still like technically a member, but the band is basically on hiatus or something like that. We started writing some new stuff, and then we were kind of demoing it, but everything's really taken off for our singer Lauren and her other projects. So like Hands Off Gretel has to take a back seat for a while. She may come back to it at some point. And hopefully we'll all be available to do that when she's ready to do that. But there's kind of no shows at the moment, or we're not actively working on new music.
Yeah, I did check out their socials. I was like, oh, no, they haven't done anything for about a year or so. So so let's talk about, with all the touring, with all the gigs, with all the tour buses, do you get chance or time to practice?
Not really. I mean, when you're touring,
What does it look like today practicing?
For me, it's usually preparing for the shows that are coming up. And then I kind of identifying any particular parts of the songs that I feel less secure about, or I know could be tighter, could be more like I don't know, like defined and like but I don't know, just perform better. So most of my practice is working towards a song, and I don't know, when I'm doing someone else's music, like, so I'm only recently joined the band, and I'm coming in after a long legacy of another bass player. I really want to make what I play as accurate as possible to the original stuff. So when I first learned the set, I was kind of like, okay, just as long as I can get through the song, the riffs are right, and just generally the song sounds right, is okay. But now I really want to get into the detail of like every fill. I want it to, I don't know what, I just want to make it right. And I've been trying to transcribe like the whole piece. So a lot of these songs, because there's like not very much repeating going on, and the fills are always changing. It's like 9 pages of like bass transcription. But I don't know. I find that quite fascinating, and I think it's helping to inform my what I'm going to do when it comes to recording time for this band next, because I've already had a deep dive study of the previous bass player's lines.
Sure. Do you find like a bit of pressure to kind of play the same lines that the old bass player did, or are you happy? Do you want to put your own stamp on it? Do they allow you to put your own stamp on it?
I think I'm allowed to put my own stamp on it. Like, and as I said, for the first tour, I didn't learn it note for note, but it was roughly like what they wanted, really. But they, because they had said that your playing really reminds us of our previous bass player, that I know that what I play instinctively is probably going to work, but I know I know that's what they want. Unfortunately, their bass player Timmy Hansen died, I think, in 2019. So he really should have been there, and they all wished he could have still been there now, and that's what the fans want. So in that way, I have no feeling like, oh, but I have to change it because it's just not me. Because I love his playing, and I feel very comfortable playing what he plays. So, I mean, I don't know, when it comes to like writing new stuff and like putting my spin on it, I don't really know how much I'm going to be like, well, this is what I do, and this is what Timmy Hansen would do. So I'm hoping that eventually those two things will just combine in a way, or, I'll just kind of give the band some options, be like, here's a couple of options of what, some bass lines that would work. Pick your favorite one, and then not tell them which one was channeling the vibes of Jimmy Hamilton, and which one were what I would personally do. But I don't know, it's quite hard to when people say, do you play whatever you want, or are you trying to like impersonate someone else? Like, I don't feel like I'm impersonating someone else, but just when you play a lot of their stuff and it works with the band, like how they've always played the kinds of riffs they come up with, then it just feels natural to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Did you feel any additional pressure stepping into the shoes of someone that just passed away?
Yes. Yeah.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess so. When Timmy Hansen got ill, they brought in a bass player called Joey Vera, and so he was kind of playing with them for a couple of years. But he was also very busy with his other band, which is where I stepped in as a dep. So I guess the pressure was taken off a little bit, because the first bass player to directly replace Timmy. It's not like, Cliff Burton dying tragically very suddenly, and then Jason Newsted having to step in and, having a really hard time with the band because they just didn't know how to deal with the death of their friend and stuff. Like, at least there had been a few years to process it, and a few years of someone else stepping in. But there weren't any albums during this time. So that's why it feels a bit more like, this is the next like era of the band in the recording output sort of ways. So, but so I guess there is kind of a pressure in some ways, but I don't know. I don't think it's been put upon me by any fans or by the band members in particular. It has felt quite, everything has felt quite positive, really.
Welcoming.
Yeah, welcoming, definitely.
Welcoming. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, that's when you said he died, the bass player died, I immediately just thought of Cliff Burton. Can you imagine stepping into those shoes?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
Yes.
So I don't know too much about it. I mean, I obviously know that Cliff, he died in a bus crash. Was it a bus accident?
Yeah, the tour bus.
How long before they replaced him?
I don't know for sure. I think it was pretty quickly. So they were on tour. They're on the Master of Puppets tour in '86. And I think they got someone in pretty quickly. They got Jason in, but then it was, I don't know. I can't remember if they continued their tour or not, to be honest.
I would imagine not. I don't think I don't think you'd fly someone in.
I think that would be a bit intense, wouldn't it? Like,
it would. Yeah, you imagine. So, am I right in thinking that you taught or teach at BIMM?
No. So I went to BIMM in Bristol, and I've done some like guest lectures there, and some talks there in the one in Bristol. And have I done any others? I think I did one in Brighton as well. So, but I've been to all different ones for just guest ones. But all my teaching is just one-to-one, kind of self-directed. Okay.
Do you enjoy teaching?
I think I think Xbox or whatever for for a half an hour, and so that felt kind of like a chore, and it felt like you're doing the same thing every week. But now all of my students they want to learn from me specifically. They're all over the world. Like, I teach people in America, and something that like the lockdown did was unblock the kind of teaching for, you don't need to find a local teacher anymore. You can find whoever you want online. And my students want to learn from me. They want to learn how to play rock and metal specifically. So I don't have to I don't have to like either like entertain people who don't really want to be there, or play music that I'm not actually that great and that much of an expert at, which is it just suits me much better.
That's good. I mean, I think the thing with teaching is, if you get people that want to learn, it just makes teaching so much easier. It's always a struggle. Like, I don't know, I suppose if you've got people coming to you, you've got people that listen to music, love music, are passionate about music. But I still teach in schools because it fits nicely around family life and kids and schedules and stuff like that. And the amount of students that when I say, what music do you listen to? They go, I don't listen to music.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing here then?
Yeah,
and
that was
the same thing. Their mum wants to put them through guitar lessons, but I don't know. And then I see it as a challenge. It's like, okay, you don't listen to music, you don't really want to play. Your mum's just put you in here because, I don't know, maybe she read a report on how learning an instrument's amazing for your brain. So now I've got to convert you. So I always see it as a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I think everybody loves music. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they need to find the right route in, through some other kind of pop culture, or maybe just from just discovering the right thing through their guitar lessons, and like they'll kind of wake that up in them and they'll start being interested in it. But it did concern me how many kids I was teaching that didn't have any concepts or ideas of what songs they like to listen to. And I was like, how am I supposed to teach you anything? I don't... How am I supposed to get you interested?
Here's Master of Puppets. Go home and listen to that and come back.
So in some ways,
even that, when I say to students, like, I'll write down a list. Here's just some songs. Here's some albums just to go and listen to. And week after week, what do you think of that album? Oh, I didn't listen to it. I didn't have time. I was like, oh, you've got to meet me halfway.
Yeah. Yeah, and there must be some music that they're listening to. It must be music that's appearing in films they watch or TV shows they watch. Or, surely these games have soundtracks and stuff. Like, it used to be a big thing.
Kids would bring me soundtracks that they've listened to on video games. It's like, I like this, and I'd listen to it, and it's just a 30-second snippet. I was like, okay, if that's what we got to work with.
No.
But yeah, it's tricky. The other thing I was going to ask is, do you like your own playing?
Do I like my own playing?
Yeah.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I like, mostly.
The amount of people that don't like their own playing, it's staggering. Like pros that I've spoken to, professional session musicians, I say, do you like your playing? They're like, nope. Like,
oh, right.
Because I think it's ace, but yeah, it's a strange thing. Like, I read somewhere, somebody posted something, or I read something, and it said, I've got to go to the door. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Oh, I knew they'd turn up. Yes, the amount of players that I've spoken to that said that they don't like their own playing. And I read something that somebody posted, like, how many, and it was directed at guitar players, like, how many guitar players would you have to list as your favourite until you reached your own name? I just got me thinking, like, where do I sit on my list of favourite guitar players? I don't think I even scratched the top 10. But...
No, yeah. I'd say, like, I don't know. It would be hard for me to put myself anywhere on that list, but
it's quite egotistical as well to start putting yourself on that.
Definitely.
But then I think you have to enjoy what you're playing, because if you don't, why should anybody else?
Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I try to play as much like my favorite bass players, and I think there's lots of elements that I have managed to achieve. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not. I'm not as good as my favorite bass players, but the approach that I have is similar. So, if I don't have any confidence in it being good enough for some people to listen to, even myself, then I can't really expect anyone else to enjoy it. I think if you really don't like your playing, like maybe you're, I don't know, like playing, maybe pursuing the wrong genre, or you're not like doing the approach that really you feel passionate about, because I don't know, surely you have to enjoy it in some way. Otherwise, how would you spend so much time doing it if you're not enjoying listening to how it sounds?
Well, that's the thing. I think there's so much going around the internet. I think there's so many musicians, particularly. But I can't speak for bass players, but guitar players. There's so many little Instagram reels or TikTok videos that people see of guitar players doing something, and they'll go, "Oh, I've got to do that because it seems to be really fashionable at the moment." And you spend ages trying to work on something, and you realize that you don't even listen to it or like it, but you've been either told or shown on the internet that this is the thing that you need to be able to do. So you go off and do it, and it just never really clicks for you. And then you get disheartened, you get pissed off, you get bored, you sell your guitar and go and buy a PlayStation. But yeah, I think you've got to pursue something that is enjoyable for you to listen to, for you to start to play it.
Yeah. Like in terms of like these things that are become popular online, and like I kind of look at them and I'm like, maybe I should start doing that sort of thing. But if it's not the kind of thing that I enjoy doing, and if it's not the music that I like, then it's not my niche, and it's not what my fans and people who follow me want to listen to. I think they want to listen to what I do because of the things that I've done already, I guess. And even though maybe it could be a bigger audience if I started doing maybe more commercial pop songs or something, or I don't know, making it more memey, more funny, and like more like joke things. I'm like, oh, that would be funny, but I'm not really a funny person. I'm not here to be like doing comedy. Like I'm here to just
play rock and roll.
Play rock and roll, yeah.
But do you think people, if you did start going down that route, people would soon suss you out there because it's not genuine?
Yeah, I think it's obvious when people are doing things for more views, more likes, in easy ways to pick up more fans. And like, not that I judge people for that because I'm so tempted. Like, I do think, okay, this is going to be the thing that gets more views and more likes, and that's what I need. But it needs to still somewhat align with what you're actually, what you enjoy about the music and the kind of music that you are passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, your Instagram is pushing 130,000.
I think so, 100, maybe 120k soon, maybe.
What's it like running an Instagram account with that many people? Is your inbox just flooded?
There is quite a lot of messages. Yeah, like there's a lot of spam. There's loads of fake accounts, like trying to, pretending to be you, trying to speak to your fans, trying to ask them for money, and it's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing you can really do about it. You report it to Meta and stuff,
and nothing happens.
Yeah, they don't do anything. You're like, you guys make so much money, and you can't even like hire people to like look after your, the people that you need to make your platform successful. You need both the people consuming and the people making content for you for free. So like, it really winds me up. But it has been a very useful tool for me to like build that platform, and that's how I got the work that I got with Merciful Fate. That is that they found me through online, like playing bass covers and stuff. So that's the thing, you never know who it's going to reach, and when you're reaching a lot of people, then you're more likely to reach someone who's going to give you a proper job and not just social media person, which like I'd like to move away from a little more. Like I'd like it as a kind of something I do on the side that's a bit fun. It helps people. I don't know, I think people are interested by it, like bass players who maybe haven't listened to this particular bass line, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize it had such an interesting bass line. But like I'd rather be kind of recording and touring and stuff. That's more of my aim.
And do you think of Instagram as kind of a CV now?
Yes. Yeah. Like, you've got to, I mean, it's everything really, isn't it? Like you're there to promote brands, and you're there for other brands to see you, and hopefully get some stuff out of them. I don't know. and putting your best performance forward and being like, this is what I can do, and this is the kind of music that I like. So, and you can show that you're touring, show that you're a professional. Whereas if I started doing stuff for more likes and more clicks and more views, then maybe these professional bands would look at it and be like, well, this person's a professional clickbait person.
Instagrammer, yeah.
yeah.
Do you remember when Instagram was just for photos and fun? Now it's a job for everybody.
Oh god, yeah. No, I remember like yeah, I remember like when I first figured out what, I guess I got on the kind of train of, oh, I need to make content on this. Like when I first started my Instagram, I just posted pictures of like my pet rats and like, just random stuff. And then I posted like one little video just for fun, like playing along to something, put like #bass. And suddenly I'm like, whoa, all these people have liked it. And I don't know these people. Who are these random people?
Yeah.
And then, I realized that that's what it was for. And then because I never really considered that I would be regularly, posting bass stuff on Instagram. I just never thought it would be such an important thing. But yeah, over the following years, it really kind of changed my life. It changed how my direction of how I was working. I got so much more work in bands from that, and it meant that I could support myself financially by promoting my website, promoting my merch store, set up a Patreon, and all of those things just started to like line up, and meant that I could pursue the band stuff more, like the original band stuff more, whereas before it was function band, loads of teaching, and I had to spread myself very thin to kind of make things work back then. And I kind of prefer what's going on now, and having that extra platform with Instagram and Facebook has been really useful.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing to watch it grow over the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's and I think you've carved a really cool little niche, and you're kind of just reaping the rewards of it. So cool. Well done.
Thank you.
You found a glitch in the matrix.
I found my space, and I'm not into I'm not into trendy bands. I'm not really into that much modern music, which does make it I guess a little bit hard to go viral and stuff. But of the people who like the kind of thing that I do, they kind of remember it, and they know that I'm the real deal, and that I post about this, and I think about this, and I play this stuff all the time, because I eat, breathe, and sleep it.
Yeah, it's cool, and it shows. And like I said, you're not disingenuous, and I think that comes off really well. And on top of that, you can play, and you're a lovely person to be around.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's kind of the cornerstone of how you get work, and how you sustain work, and how you build a career. It's, are you genuine? Can you play? And do you want to be around that person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's very short-sighted when I don't know, when certain people try and like break into the music scene suddenly, and they make it look like they can do all of these things, or they make it seem like they're a big deal, and then you kind of scratch the surface and you're like, hold on, you're full of shit. And it's the word spreads quickly amongst people in the industry, so people will soon know that, like, if someone, like, their playing is not as good as they're acting like it, or they're difficult to be around, if like I don't know, any of these things, like, word does spread around people quite quick, which I think is a good thing.
Yes, no, it is. We need to look after each other. You mentioned earlier about not being as good or getting better. Like, what does like getting better look like for you today?
I don't know. I guess speed. Like, it's always speed when it's metal. That's the thing. Okay. Like, being able to play things fast, cleanly and fast. And I always find like I always want to do more and more recordings, because that is where you really realize all the problems in your playing, or
Okay.
where you've like, oh, not muted that note, or your timing could be slightly like, it's not quite locked in with those
Yeah, yeah.
drums, it's not quite locked in with those. So it's always something to do with, yeah, like I'd say like rhythmically, that's what
Hmm.
I'm generally always working on. If it's like, okay, practice, what am I going to work on? It's always something that's rhythmically based. But maybe that's more of a bass player thing, whereas maybe
Yeah.
guitarists go, I want to work on my feel for my solos
No,
and
no,
stuff.
it's all speed as well. It's speed.
Still,
How do I
yeah,
play
everything's speed.
faster?
Yeah,
So let's
it's
say
just metronome torture every day.
yeah. So let's say you get given something, or you're on a session and you've come up against something that you just can't hit at that tempo, and let's say you're given a week to get it up to scratch. What's your kind of step by step method to get yourself? Let's say you've got to play sixteenths at 160, and you're just about scratching 140.
I guess it would be booking in the time, like a couple of times a day to work with the metronome. Um, Keep trying to bump it up but you make sure you're warmed up. Try and bump it up by like a couple of BPM a day, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably be aiming to overshoot the tempo that it needs to be, like in that time. And then I think by the day before, I'd have to make a decision about whether I can actually do this
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
or is it like, okay, you don't have the stamina to do these 16th notes. Can it be, can it be eighths, or can it be more like a gallop, like an
Yeah.
eighth and
Yeah.
2/16? Are the bits where you can just do one note, because even that just breaks it up enough for you to kind of recover a little bit of stamina, like
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
for the other burst of 16th notes. So yeah, like if something becomes so like fast that I can't play it well and it becomes messy, I'm just like, I gotta cut that bit down. But I
Okay.
think that's what I think that's a sensible thing to do for most bass players. As a rhythmic instrument, you can't be making things sound wrong for the drums or rhythm guitar. So, yeah, know your limitations, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was speaking to someone and they said, and I had this from one of my old teachers as well. They said, if you're trying to play something at 160, and let's say you're struggling at 140, spend a couple of days at 120,
Mm-hmm.
and then just knock it straight up to 160, and then
Oh, really?
just polish up the edges. And I was like, that's
Ah.
interesting. And so I took that philosophy. I don't know if you know the Nuno Betancourt solo from what song's it called? Play With Me. That was using Bill and Ted's.
Kind of, yeah, I know that song.
I spent a year on this fucking thing, maybe longer. And I spoke to this guy, Andy Wood, and he said, fuck it, just stick it up at same whatever tempo is and just have a crack at it. Even if it sounds like dog shit, just play it. And you'll find that after a day, you'll just start to round off the edges. And that's exactly what
Ah,
happened. In 15 minutes, I made more progress than I did in the last year.
wow.
I was like, holy shit. And I dropped him a message like, dude, it fucking worked. He's like, yes, mate. So
That's
I'm now applying it as best I can to like everything else that I'm struggling with tempo wise. I'm just going to put it at the tempo, and I'm just going to struggle my way through it. So long as I know what the notes are and where to put my fingers.
that's the thing. Yeah, yeah.
So
I think I mean, for me, like when when I have like a student who's working on something like this, and I'll be like, okay, play it slowly, like way slow, and then it'll go wrong even slow, and I'll be like, you're trying to play it fast, but you can't even play it slow. Like if you can't play it slow,
yeah,
you can't play it fast. Like so, that's
yeah,
always been my kind of motto. Or or you just don't understand it well enough. So I guess more of slowing it down so that you really understand
yeah,
rhythmically what's going on, so that when you are doing it fast, your brain can hopefully keep up and your fingers can keep up and
yeah, yeah.
all of this. But maybe there is something to be said about, you kind of,
Just jump in.
maybe the bits that become less important, like when you speed it up,
Mm.
like I don't know, somehow it ends up being it working, because it just becomes musical. It becomes like, as it's meant to be. And I don't know. That's interesting.
I think there's loads of trains of schools. Start again. There's lots of trains of thoughts on it. Trains of schools of thoughts. That's Jesus Christ.
One of those.
There's lots of schools of thought.
There's trains and schools of thought.
Yes, I'm trying to use 3 different sentences at the same time, and I think kind of whatever works best. But I think if you're seeing no results, then I think you've got to change something up. If you're a kind of person that can sit down and do it at half speed for a week, and then you're like, okay, I can gradually build it up and I can get there. But if you're starting to speed it up and you're just hitting a wall, what you've done is you've just learned to play it slowly. Now you've got to learn to play it fast. You know the notes, you know the pattern, you know whatever it is, you know the rhythm, you know the phrasing. Now just fuck it, just try it. Just jump straight in and crank up the metronome or put the song on and just have a go. I think there's something to be said for that. Do you think there's anything that isn't being taught that really should be, particularly with bass?
I don't know. Like, I'm not really sure.
Like things on YouTube that you see, you're just like, no, you're not talking about this. No one's talking about that.
I don't know.
It's
like
too difficult, or you can't really teach it.
I think that there's certain things that are hard to learn from a YouTube video, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of maybe modern bass play. Oh, I don't know. Okay, bass players that are learning exclusively from online content tend to like not be as good at reading like sheet music and following where they are in the music, and a lot of videos now have tab integrated into the video, so you're watching it, you're listening to it, you're reading the tab. That's great for like learning the song and being really like quick at learning it. But I don't know, I always think there's something really, I don't know, useful about knowing how to just like download a PDF or print off a page and isolate sections, not have to listen to the music and look at it and be like, that's how this goes, and I can play that section. I can dip in and out of bits, and I can follow it structurally with the repeat markings and blah blah blah. I think those things are useful, and they're especially on like YouTube and like Ultimate Guitar and all these like kind of tab sites. They don't teach that, and a lot of my students, when I start sending them my transcriptions that have like repeat marks and stuff, they're like, oh, this is so hard, I get confused, I have to move back and forth. And it's like, yes you do, because if you had to print this out, if we don't go back and forth, it's going to be like 10 pages long, dude. Like, I don't want to, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to turn these pages. So so it is going to be moving back and forward. So that's kind of one of the things.
And do you read music?
Yeah. So I used to a lot more, and I was really into it, and I really wanted to play bass for like theatre productions, like a pit player, and I wanted to do more session stuff, and because I love musical theatre, it's like my favorite thing. But like it turned out that wasn't really,
heavy metal was calling.
Heavy metal's calling. Like it, and I think maybe I thought, oh, that would be a good stable career to be a pit musician. Like there's gigs like every day of the week, but then it was so hard to get into because I needed to have all this time free, and I had a few gigs with my other bands, and I couldn't work the two things together. So
you had to pick.
I had to pick, and metal wins.
Well, I've just started picking up some theatre work, and it's I really like it because I'm not the best reader, but it's just, if you want to improve your reading, just get a reading gig.
Yeah.
The first one I got, Legally Blonde, I told a few people, and they're like, ooh. I was like, why? It's not an easy one. And I started going through the charts. I'm like, holy fucking shit! Oh my god! It is proper musical theatre stuff with chords changing on every beat, and when keyboard players write out guitar parts, they don't think, how's a guitar going to play this? They just put the keyboard chords, and you're like, no, I can't play that. That's no. So then you have to kind of come up with your own thing, but it's been really
you're kind of learning it. But a way of doing it. But I find that really interesting, like the kind of combination of reading and learning a part.
It's been an experience. I'm really looking forward to it. And
I
do
love
you
Legally
think
Blonde the musical as well. So yeah.
I've no, I've been playing it for about a month, and I couldn't tell you a single song because I'm sitting there just reading and playing, and I'm not actually really listening. So I've just started listening. But yeah, it sounds like a fun show to do. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, cool.
Last thing, is there anything that you think needs to stop?
Oh, I don't know. I guess just in like bass in general.
Bass in general, music education in general.
I don't know. Maybe in the music scene in general. I don't know. Like,
Like
I don't want to sound like,
I'm always seeing false courses being sold, and
oh yeah,
magic tricks. They're the one secret the professionals always like. Fuck off.
yeah. I
Or
don't know. I
one
guess
tip. Yeah.
yeah, anything that's like, kind of clickbaity YouTube tutorials, or like, oh, buy my course because I'll teach you how to do this, and you're like, really, come on. Like,
Yeah.
and anything that's just like, it promises too much, and like really tries to suck you in, and appeals to something that you just need to watch. And I don't know, it's kind of the same for like bands, like new bands. And they're moving on to TikTok, which is great. Like, I think I really enjoy TikTok, but I don't know, the amount of importance that's been now being put on that platform. Like, oh yeah, you're not gonna go anywhere unless if you're being active on TikTok and making your sounds available and stitching with other people's things. And I don't know, like, it still feels like, okay, it's probably going to work for some artists, but I don't think it's going to be a way to have a sustainable career by like trying to trend on TikTok and things like this. So
Yeah.
That's something.
Jason or Cliff? Why?
I'm a fingerstyle bass player, so
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Is that the only reason? Because I know everyone speaks about Cliff Burton like the same way people speak about Jimi Hendrix, but I've got no idea why.
Well, I guess I mean, like, so many iconic bass lines on the early Metallica albums. Like, he got a bass solo on the first album, so like that not very many
special.
Not very many metal bands would put a whole song that's just bass or just bass and drums on an album. But like Cliff was very special. And then I don't know, some of the other like big bass intros like Ride the Lightning, where it's like in your face. And I don't know, just his persona on stage was really like special, I think. And then I guess when Jason joined, I think the band didn't treat him amazingly well, and they there wasn't very much bass you could hear in like those first couple of albums, and they kind of put him more to the
doesn't
back.
have any bass on it, does it?
Yeah, like, and Justice for All's like basically inaudible. Yeah, it's so. Yeah, so I mean that would make sense. Like, I don't think Jason got much opportunity to shine in the ways that he could, especially when you're replacing someone like as legendary as Cliff Burton. I mean, I love Jason. Like, I loved his backing vocals. Loads of his bass lines are amazing. But like, I don't know, Cliff was just one of those people that because they went way too soon, you can't help but keep thinking like, what could have happened if he was still going for another 40 years like the rest of them. But
all right, okay, Becky, it was a real pleasure chatting to you. Thank you for spending or taking the time to come out and have a chat.
That's all right. It's been great speaking to you. Thank you very much.
We will speak soon.
Okay, cool.